All right, all right. So we're good to go. We are good to go. Let me see here.
This call is
Esta
now
es
being
Global
recorded.
Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. What's up, James?
Hey, what's up, David? Hey, what's up, David and Jesse? I want to go ahead and welcome you guys to a new episode of You Have a Collect Call From. How are you guys doing today?
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Is this an average everyday collect call from, or is this a European
Yeah.
collect call from?
Is this a special edition?
Yeah, this special edition. Talk to us. Where you at, James?
Hey, so right now, this is actually it is a special one. I'm currently on vacation. I should be sleeping right now. It is one something in the morning right now, and we're currently in
132.
there it is, 132. We're currently in Prague right now. I didn't even know Prague existed until about 3 days ago. When my sister told me we were gonna go to Prague, I was like, man, that sounds fancy.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. To be honest with you, like I think that I'm gonna take my vacations in Compton, California. Um, maybe South Central, Los Angeles. I don't know about this Prague stuff you're doing. I would have tolerated Little Rock, Arkansas, but nah, it's cool, man. I was glad for some of the listeners that don't know. I did 3 video calls with James earlier in Prague, and I was tripping out on that city. I was surprised how much it looked like Folsom State Prison.
AKA La Casa de Drácula.
Yeah, that place looked like, man. I thought you was at Disney World, Jess. Yeah, I saw the Disney Castle in the background. That's actually a church.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I thought he was trying to pull the
old school architect.
I thought he was trying to pull the wool over our eyes. He was in Epcot Center.
Yeah. No, but that's awesome though, James. You got to be super fortunate to be able to be exposed to places like that, because I know a lot of people, they only dream about going to Europe and seeing some of the places, going to Spain and Madrid and Rome, and all the exotic places on the other side of the pond. And so, fortunately for you, you've been able to see some of them, and that's awesome. And I appreciate you taking the liberty of bringing us along with you, and still making yourself available so that we can do our Sunday night special. So I definitely want to thank you for that. I think that the listeners should thank you for that and be grateful. I know I certainly am. So, like you said, you should be asleep right now, but that's commitment right there.
That's what that shows, man. Your dedication and commitment.
Yep,
I was
yep.
afraid, honestly, looking at the background, that James would be taken, quote unquote, taken. I was going to have to use my special set of skills to get him back.
Yeah.
I told him they were gonna send back pieces of his mustache in the mail, and he was gonna lose so much he was gonna look like Contilas.
Yeah. What did they do to James?
With a little side stash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I said they get top dollar for a Mexican in Prague. He's exotic over there.
Yeah. He's not Mexican. James is what are you? You're from El Salvador.
Oh yeah, he's El Salvador. That's why he looked at me so offended. That's right. I forgot.
Don't you know the Mexicans in El Salvador?
That's even more of a delicacy in Prague.
Yeah.
Yeah, you some of that Salvadorian.
Yeah. They're coming.
Man, if I would have remembered you were from El Salvador, I would have put you on the market. You would have been like, hey man, I got this little pug following me around. This what do you call those little Yugos?
Yeah.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Hey, James, you're mixed, aren't you? Salvadoreño and Mexicano, or what are you mixed with?
I'm Salvadorian and Puerto Rican.
Oh, Puerto Rican. Okay, yeah, I know.
I thought I sensed a little Boricua in you.
Yeah.
You just
He's on dirty pass. I knew there was a little daddy Yankee in that mustache.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. No wonder why you knew so much about the Edgar.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get you don't get that kind of Edgar knowledge being Mexican, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to know who sent you. He's a Puerto Rican spy.
Yeah. Yep. That's what he is. Hey, so anyway, after talking all that shit about you, I hope you still want to talk to us.
Hey, you
I'm
know
gonna,
what? Hey,
I'm gonna, uh,
I'm so
go ahead.
dedicated. I was so dedicated to the stream that I put my alarm for 2 hours, and I didn't even hear it. I didn't hear the alarm go off.
Uh-huh.
Luckily, you guys called me, and I was able to hear that call when you guys called back because I got my ringer super loud, and like three phones were ringing at the same time.
He got two phones, one for the plug and one for the low.
And I didn't even know what phone to call. I got this fancy European number that I was calling. I didn't know if I was supposed to call that first, so I did. And yeah, I don't know. Just all
That's why I
hell
didn't hear
broke
it.
loose right
I
now.
heard David speaking like I heard David speaking like three different languages right
I
now.
was.
Like, who are you talking to? He's like, oh, I'm talking to your operators in three different European
How you
countries.
make German sound like Spanglish, Dave? That's what he was saying.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's just what it is, man. But hey, I'm glad to be here with you, James. Are we on TikTok and YouTube before I start cussing like a sailor?
Nah, nah. Right now we're just doing. I didn't wanna zip tie your hands to your back. So we're just right now strictly on YouTube.
Yeah, that's freaking great. That's good, man.
That's better. That's better. Anybody on TikTok that really wants to see the channel can go to YouTube.
Yep. No, that's cool. And okay, that's good. So anyway, we got this topic that we were thinking, right? Because we saw this CBS special the other day, and it was on CBS morning. So we gotta give a citation for them, and it was about the California model. They had Gavin Newsom on there, who's the governor of California, and he was talking about his vision.
Mr. Yoga Pants?
Yep, Mr. Yoga Pants. He was talking about his vision for state prisons in California, and they were talking about San Quentin, how they turned it into the San Quentin Rehabilitation Center. It's not even called state prison anymore, and they want that to spread into the prisons up and down the state. 32 prisons, I believe. I think they shut some down, but historically, California's got 32 prisons, and it's got a bunch of like fire camps and CCS and stuff. So really, there's like 300 prisons in California, but I don't know where they get 32 from. Where does that number come from, Jess?
There used to be 33 prisons altogether. Now there's down to like 28.
Yeah, but what about like the other 100 yards that are scattered up and down the state with fences around them that are still CDCR, like
Oh, like
fire
CCS
camps and
stuff like
CCS? Yeah.
The camps count, but the actual pre-camp institutions, but the camps themselves, they don't consider that
Prison.
an actual prison. Yeah.
But they do prison stuff in there.
No, well, you know what? Matter of fact, all the camps themselves do count. The CCS were the only ones they didn't count as prisons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because yeah, because really I believe there's only like 16 real prisons.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's very many.
Yeah, no.
So
there
the
isn't.
32 includes those
Let's see if
camps and whatnot.
Yeah, let's see if we can name the 16 real prisons. Let's
Well-
start in Southern California.
Well, let's go all the way down to the border of Donovan.
Donovan.
All right, so we got Donovan, and now if you go,
Centinela.
yep, you got those three, and then we're gonna cut to Ironwood, because you can't forget
Chuckawalla.
Ironwood right there. Ironwood, Chuckawalla. Then you're gonna cruise into Chino,
Yes,
but don't forget CRC, but don't forget CIW.
CIW.
Them girls are tripping down there.
Yeah.
You know, you get CIW, so that's already 8 right there. Then you're gonna cruise along, and you're gonna hit Lancaster.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
9.
9. Then when you get up from Lancaster, I think the first one.
CMC.
Oh, you hit CMC, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, San Luis Obispo.
Then
That's
Tehachapi.
dead to Tehachapi. That's 11. But what about Pleasant Valley?
Yeah, well, that's going to be up. You're going to have Avenal first, then you're going to have Pleasant Valley. You go off to the right, you have Corcoran.
Corcoran, MSAT-F. Yep.
Right. Then you go up a little more.
You got then you got Delano. You got New Delano, which is Kern Valley State Prison.
Yep.
You got Old
Wasco.
Delano, which is North Kern State Prison. Then you got Wasco State Prison.
Yep.
Then you cruise up even more, and now you get into like
Soledad.
Soledad's in
You got VSP. But
Valley-
that was, you know what's crazy is VSP. Well, no, yeah, it was because
Valley
it was a
State
women's
Prison. But is there two VSPs, or they're all in the same
There's Chowchilla
institution?
and then there's VSP.
So those
Valley
are two
State
different
Prison
prisons,
and
huh?
Chowchilla, yeah. They're both in Chowchilla, though.
Then you got Vacaville.
Yep.
Vacaville's an actual prison.
Yeah, Vacaville's right next to oh no, that's never mind. That's how you. No, there is another prison right next to Vacaville. What's the other prison?
I don't know.
It's a lower security. Vacaville is more a medical institution, but
Then you got New Folsom, Old Folsom. Then you got
Salinas Valley and Soledad already?
no, I got Soledad, but we didn't get Salinas. We got Soledad, but not Salinas Valley. What's connected right to it?
Right across the street. And then when you like you said, you got Wasco, you got Delano, you got
We got all those ones. Yep. Cruise up even more up to state. Then you got
Mule Creek is by Vacaville.
Mill Creek's pretty high up there too.
Yeah.
Then you got High Desert, Susanville.
Yeah, you got New Folsom, Old Folsom, Susanville, Jamestown,
Yep.
and then Pelican Bay.
Pelican Bay. That's it.
Those are all the main prisons. The other 20 prisons or whatever were included in all those camps.
Fair enough.
Yep. And now they're down to they're down to like 20-something prisons. The prison crowding went from like 190,000 or whatever, which is like triple the capacity they were built for.
It's crazy that I've actually been to probably 9 or 10 prisons. I'm not sure. It's crazy. I've been in so many times I don't even know how many prisons I've been to. But I've been to a lot of prisons.
Let me see if I can count. Let's see. I don't know if I've been to 9 or 10. Let's see. Delano. I'll just start in the Central Valley. Delano, Kern Valley, Tehachapi, Corcoran, Sad F.
That's 5.
That's 5. And then down here, and then Pleasant Valley up there as well. That's 6. And then down here, I've been in Centinela, Calipat, and Ironwood. That's 9.
That's freaking 9 damn prisons yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so I've been to, let me see, I've been to North Kern State Prison. I've been to Wasco State Prison. I've been to Chino State Prison. I've been to Ironwood State Prison. I've been to New Corcoran. I've been to Old Corcoran. I've been to
I forgot Old
Soledad. I've been to New Folsom. I feel like I'm forgetting somewhere. Let's see. Oh, yeah, what about Calipatria and freaking Centinela?
Yeah.
That's 10. Yeah, I've been to 10 prisons.
Yeah, I forgot. I was in Old Corcoran, too.
Yep.
For a long time, actually, so I don't know how I forgot
Yep,
that place.
that's crazy. Oh, I've been in Tehachapi, too. I didn't even mention Tehachapi. That's 11 prisons.
Yeah.
Freaking nuts.
You're sickening.
Can you believe that, James? I've been to 11 prisons.
You know what? I don't. I can't congratulate you on that because you're still missing like 20 something other prisons. It's like Pokemon cards. You got to capture them all.
Yeah, and the crazy part is in 11 prisons, I've been to Tehachapi twice. I've been to Delano twice, and I've been to Chino like 4 or 5 times. You know?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Hey, let me ask you
That's what we
something.
tell people, man. That we're yeah. Go ahead.
So I remember,
Go ahead.
you know,
Pass away. Now I'm depressed.
the few times that I did hit county, I would hear people talking about CCFs, and they were like you guys, they would say that they weren't real prisons. So what does that exactly mean?
It's a private prison. It's a private prison run by security guards. They don't even have correctional officers. They have security guards there, and it's a level 1, non-secure level 1. You could technically run away from there if you choose to.
Yeah, like real prisons are like they're electrified. Like they have electrified fences. They have gun towers. They have CDCR correctional officers that run the prison. So they have the whole, you know, it's just. And
Over there, you do something wrong, you get grounded to your bunk.
yeah,
Put on your bunk.
or if you get kicked out of there, they'll send you to a real prison to go to the hole.
Yeah. We're going to send you to a prison.
Yeah, and so it's a lot different. The environment is a lot different. The vibe's a lot different. But a lot of dudes there. I know people that were at those places before, and you know they fucked theirs off and got sent to real prison, and they just said like a lot of dudes were like acting tough. You know, a lot of dudes act tough. They got the look. They're all blasted up.
Yeah, they're able to get tattoos there. You'll see a lot of guys. You can tell a lot of the old school cats won't be all blasted up because before, back in the day, you weren't able to get tats like that unless you were like locked in a cell.
Yeah.
The dudes that were all blasted up, you knew they didn't really do time on no real prison because there wasn't an excess of tattoo needles and guns.
It's not easy. That's the thing. That's why I'm not like I got a lot of tattoos, but
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
all the shit that I've been through, I should be completely covered with tattoos. But thank God I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, but I just was always locked down. I was always in a hole, and it wasn't really that easy to find tattoo artists like that. if you have a lot of time on your hands enough to get blasted like that, you probably weren't doing shit.
Yeah. I used to trip out on the homies that'll come in for like 16 months and come out with a full body, like all blasted up. Like, damn, fool, where'd you go?
I know you weren't putting in work.
Where'd you go? You come out with all that Aztec art.
Well, yeah, we got to give you a call back. All right, James? Stay awake.
All right, yeah,
Stay with us.
I got it.
All right.
All right, so hey, shout out to Chubby Jessica, and also shout out to Michael. Hey, I appreciate you guys tapping in. And right now, when we reconnect on that new call, go ahead and read off your comments to them, and then we'll go ahead and get on with it. Unfortunately, these calls are limited to 15 minutes. I know Jessica enjoys that because she mentioned last time that she gets to do her workouts in those 15 minutes, so that definitely works out for her. She's able to keep track of that in that fashion.
This
Esta
call
es
is now
Global
being
Talent.
recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Talent.
Hello.
Hi, James. Yes,
All
sir.
right. So I want to read off some comments right here. So we got Chubby Jessica in the chat right here, and she writes, "Hi friends,
Hey.
great to be here. This is my favorite show of all time."
Hey,
That's right. And she's one of our favorite
She
listeners
is.
of all time.
she is.
Dedicated and committed.
Yeah,
Gotta
I'm
love
glad
it.
to have you here, too,
Yep.
Chubby Jessica.
We do the show for people like you, Jessica. We love you,
Absolutely.
Chubby Jessica.
All right, what you got? What you got for us, James? What
And
else?
then we got Michael in here from Toronto, Canada, and he writes, Good evening, everyone."
Welcome back. Good evening.
That's right. Good evening.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
for tuning
Michael,
in.
it's always a pleasure to have Michael on.
Yep.
Toronto, Canada. I tried. I'm trying to cholo up my words, but it's hard. It's difficult. Not everybody can walk in your shoes, James. It's not easy.
It ain't easy.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
It ain't easy, B.
It's not easy to walk a mile in those Adidas. You know?
Hey, speaking of my Adidas, I probably chose the wrong shoes, to come, do all this walking. But by the time I came back to the room, my right foot was down for the count.
I was real disappointed in you in that regard. I really was, man. I had expected you to wear some like wooden shoes that were cobblestone friendly. Pointy
Clogs.
tips.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
clogs.
Yeah, pointy tip wooden shoes.
Yeah. I
Like,
expected you to commit to the full German look.
yeah.
Oh, no, he was in Prague, huh?
It don't matter. You can still wear the German look. I think it's universal in Europe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Swedish
Yeah.
clog.
The compression socks.
Yeah.
If we would have did a sock check on he was wearing compression socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta embrace the vibe.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
so anyway, what's up?
Hey, that's right. I
That's
did.
right.
I showed you my
What's up?
shoes. You didn't say anything about my low socks beneath my ankles.
I didn't want to put you out there. It was on my mind. I did not even see socks on. I'm going to tell you right now. It looked like you were walking sockless in those non-cobblestone friendly shoes. And I didn't want to put you out there. Like I didn't want to split you up on the yadra, but that was uncalled for. Hey, and you had extremely hairy ankles also. I want to put that out there also.
I guess they're gonna be seeing
I'm
once
just saying.
once I upload those video visits.
Yeah, there was thick underbrush. I want you to know, everybody, the public. You've been notified. Nah, but that was cool, man. I appreciate you, man. You took me across the world and showed me everything that I was missing. And it's so sad that we threw our lives away in a lot of the sense. You know, we're lucky to have any piece of our lives left after all the chaos that we sowed out there. But that's what the real world looked like. Everybody just cruising around, just doing their own thing, and you know, it was just we we skipped out on that opportunity to try to be somebody in a world of nobodies, and that's just it was sickening. I felt like a sense of loss. I just came in the cell, and Jesse wasn't in here, and I was just thinking, man, I was thinking about everybody walking around out there, and I was thinking about the air and just people relaxing in the square, in that little town square. It was just, it's just a horrifying thought, sickening to think about what we did with our lives. We see the world through a TV set. We have no view here. The view outside of our window is it's a desert. It's a wasteland. That's what we see. We see dead trees, and they make sure that there's no greenery anywhere around the prison. They literally kill all the grass and they kill everything around the perimeter. They don't want you to have anywhere to hide behind if you were to make it out of here. It's just open fields as far as you can see. You see cars off into the distance, but it's just nothing but blue sky and barren desert. And our world exists through the TV set. Our world exists through video visits and what we're told and what we hear. And that's just what it is, man. And that's a consequence that we have to pay. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the California model, about what we saw on TV. And they were showing it, man. They showed the dog program. They got guys training dogs in Donovan, and they're trying to bring that here. They got comfortable seats in the day rooms. They got the games that they have in San Quentin are way better than they got here. The baseball teams and basketball teams and just all the support. But it's crazy that we don't really see much of that here. This prison looks no different other than the tablets than anywhere else.
And everywhere has the tablets now.
Yeah, everywhere has the tablets, and that's all we see in the California model. Yeah, the schooling, the college is different, but they've always had college in some way, shape, or form. It's expanding now, but this isn't anything revolutionary. They've had trades, and when I was in New Corcoran, which is SADF, I was there in 2000, 2001. I was doing auto body. It's the same thing here. We still got the same trades: auto body, auto mechanics, small engines.
A lot of trades that are ultimately going to be obsolete within the next 10 years because the reality of it is it's not, everything's moving in a different direction. What they need to do is ensure that they had office services and stuff like that on every yard, because the reality of it is that's the kind of marketable.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah,
because the reality of it is if you can't fill out an application, which is all online, how are you going to get a job anywhere else? How are you going to be able to get a job in a body shop? Are you going to get a job as a welder or a job here? But up there, if you can't even fill out the application because you can barely navigate the simple functions of a computer because you've been incarcerated for so long, the technology is.
Let me ask you a question, Jess. Yeah. Is the California model chipping away at justice for victims?
It just depends. It depends. Asking me personally, I don't believe that it is, but I'm sure that somebody else may think that it is. Like you said, you mentioned that show that special we watched the other day on the show. On the news, and we were able to actually hear it from correctional officers, hear it from victims, from survivors. From the governor himself. We were able to hear many different perspectives, but asking me, I don't believe that it is. I believe that it's subjective. That the answer to that question is subjective, depending who you would ask. Justice comes in different forms. It looks different to different people. So for me, I believe, the way I see it is justice is like, okay, some people may think, why would you want to give somebody another chance? This person took a life, which is definite, so he should forfeit his life, which is definite. However, people don't understand that just by housing us in prison, we're continuing to victimize people out there based on the fact that they're the ones paying to house us here. You know,
Yeah.
it's an ongoing victimization. It costs us. It costs. People think, well, how could you give somebody a college education in prison? Why would you give them a free education? Well, you know what? You're paying $130,000 a year to house me here. Even if you give me nothing, you're paying $130,000 to $160,000 a year to house me in prison. So the reality is, based on the fact that they have to let us out of prison one day eventually, why would you not want to rehabilitate somebody to ensure that I'm not the same person that walked in those doors? I created the vicious act that brought me here.
I think it's smart. I do. I think it's smart what they're doing. They're preparing us for the real world. They're giving us the confidence to go out there and land excellent jobs. But I think that there should be some screening, so it doesn't take away from victims. Like there are people that should be in prison and never get out. I do think that.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what the governor said.
But I don't think, Governor Newsom said that, and I don't think, though, it should be based on why they're in prison.
No.
I think that it should be based on their behavior while in prison and their ability to take responsibility for what brought them here in the first place. And taking responsibility, you could say, okay, yeah, I did it. I did it. I've taken responsibility for that crime. But have you? Have you really taken responsibility for that crime? Because your behavior in prison shows that, you acknowledge what you did, but
it doesn't.
Yeah.
The murderer ran around on the streets bragging about what he did.
Absolutely, but it doesn't look like you give a fuck because you're continuing to go down a destructive path. I don't see amends in anything that some of these guys are doing. How is it that they can acknowledge what they're doing, but they're going to sit there and freaking take a hit of spice and fall out on the yard in a spice seizure? How is that taking responsibility? It looks like you're trying to evade responsibility by escaping that responsibility.
Right. And it's funny because the reporter actually asked the secretary of CDCR, who worked his way up the totem pole through CDCR as a correctional officer, sergeant, captain, LT, all the way up to the assistant secretary of CDCR, right? And she asked him, hey, in your time, could you have envisioned something like this? And he was like, no way, absolutely not. You know what I mean? Because he came from a time where prison was prison. And he said, I absolutely could not. I would no way have been able to understand what it is that we're implementing today. He goes, however,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
it was a different time. It was a different time, and prison was a different place.
I don't believe that you should coddle killers.
No.
You should not be coddling killers. The thing is that you should have a place for those people. Hey, if they identify and they're this and they're that, then hey, let them be that.
Yeah.
Let them do it. Get a guard, reinstate that dude, that prison guard guy, that guy that freaking, just has a negative attitude towards everything recovery. Hey, let's reinstate that guy and make him the warden of a prison and let him run it like the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did they call it 60 seconds or was that one of those other ones?
I don't know.
No, you're good.
I don't know. Yeah, but that's what I think. I think, hey man, those guys, you know who I'm talking about, James? That prison guard. I think that's what he goes by.
Yeah.
And hey, his views are relevant. They're just not relevant to us. They just don't pertain to a lot of us. But there is a demographic that his views should be applied to. If they want to play that game, play that game. Let's play cat and mouse, but do it in a safe place. They got prisons that are set up for that. And they don't got to be. Look, they're still human, those guys. I'm not saying send them up to the Pelican Bay and lock them up in a little cage, but hey, there are prisons where they could go and they could set up shop and they could treat them like human beings, but if they want to behave like animals, hey, there's a safe place to do it. Yep. And everybody that's involved has signed up for that. They play that game. There's guys that live and breathe their game.
And they could incentivize, even in places like that, you can incentivize change, and I promise you, even the worst of the worst, we're an example of that. You know what I mean? In the right situation, with the right compassion, the right understanding, and the right extension of help, everybody has potential. No matter the worst of the worst, bro, has potential to do something else.
But they have to want it.
Right.
They have to want it. But I also believe that they should give people an opportunity to run like hell off of that yard
Right.
when they're ready, because it's not safe to walk off those yards.
No.
Once those yards exist, a lot of people are going to be trying to leave. They're not going to know how to leave, but there's going to be, trust me, when they see what it is, and they're like, hey man, guess what?
I'm not built for this.
Yeah, hey, this has gotten way out of control. I'm seeing freaking, Jesse and David freaking run around the softball field all happy, and they're gonna want to leave that environment, but there has to be a safe way to do it. I say one-way doors, where you can walk and you could just freaking jump into one of them, jump into a cage and it locks it locks behind you.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
But I also believe too that there has to be a portal, even from those prisons, from the worst of the worst, to something better, because it could instill hope. You know what I mean? Let them see what it is they're missing.
It should be there, but
Right.
but they are there for a reason,
Yeah.
and they should stay there until they show a willingness to do something other than that. But there should be like a halfway point,
Right.
like, hey, that guy went to visit that day, never came back, but where does he go? He's not ready for our yard.
Yeah.
But he has to go through intense therapy, man.
Transitional housing.
Transitional incarceration or something, yeah.
Yeah, transitional housing unit. I had to go through it before I could come here.
Yeah, something different, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's
Hey, we're gonna go ahead and call back, James.
All right,
Stay
perfect.
awake.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll be waiting. All right, all right. So let me see. Let me get over here through the comments. So right now, when they call back, I'll go ahead and continue reading off these comments right here from Chubby Jessica and from Michael de Toronto. Let me see. There's Yep. All right. So man, like right before they called, I was out. I was in deep sleep. I had put my alarm to go off in about 2 hours, and that didn't happen. I was out. Luckily, they called me to a phone that I could hear.
This call is now being
Esta es
recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, hello.
All right, James. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me read I'm gonna read some of the comments here, and for the questions, because I do have some questions from Jessica, and I don't want to sidetrack you guys from the topic at hand. So I'll go ahead and read those a little bit later when.
Yeah, as long as it's not about workouts. You got to see. Look, Chubby Jessica, we need you to stay on context. Great questions. Jesse will be more than willing to answer them. Stay on context.
But you're not going to get the secret to my exercise
That's all.
success.
Not during a prison justice show. Well, go ahead. We'll hold those questions. You'll get your answers. Don't worry.
All right. And then
right,
Michael wrote, he wrote it. It's always nice to hear from Jesse, David, and James, James too. Uh,
Hey, we love to be here for you guys. We do. You guys are Michael. You guys are a lot of the reason why we come back every weekend. We do. We take time out of our day to share our lives with you. So you guys can have an insight into who we are as people. Because I don't think that we get a fair shake a lot, and we're glad that we're here for you guys. What else, James? What you got?
and that's right. The rest of them oh, sorry. And then Jessica also put one. She put enjoy your travels, James. Thank you for doing these shows.
Hey, just because she was nice, I'll allow Jesse to answer one question right now at this point. One off-topic question. Go ahead. We
No,
gotta
actually,
make sure.
You
Tell
know,
me, Jessica.
she has some
Get
pretty
your
good questions on
typical
here.
gist.
She writes, let me see. So Chubby Jessica writes, can you describe the process of organizing a wedding in prison? What limitations do you face?
Oh,
Hey, we're gonna get to the weddings. We're gonna get to the weddings.
we're actually going to talk about weddings in a minute and in a few. So we will definitely get back to that question.
We'll hold that question. We'll allow another one more.
All right.
I'm talking way off topic, like
No, no.
way off topic. So
So,
let's
so,
tackle that one first.
so the questions right now she has, they're all pertaining to that I could see towards prison weddings, prison related questions.
All right, cool. Now, because we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. We wanna make sure that what we talk about doesn't take away from what we feel our victims have coming, and victims of violent crime, and so I wanted to continue on that topic about what does justice look like for victims, Jess? How would you want your victims to get justice for your crimes? Yeah, that was a rough question. I'm actually sorry I asked that because Jesse just shrugged. He let a breath out and his shoulders slumped. he was like, he gave me that look like, how dare you, motherfucker, ask me that question right now?
So what would justice look like for my victim?
What does it look like? How are you repaying what you did, Jess? How are you giving your victims justice? And that's not a hard question to answer because you're living that life.
Absolutely. It's I mean, in simple form, the person I am today is the only way that I could pay back any justice to the victims, the people that I've harmed, living or.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I spent the last 4 years undergoing a rigorous transformation in my life to ensure that I was no longer the kind of person that could create such harm on people or create such, commit such violent acts. And so for me, it's I'm a living amends today. I live in a service. I do everything that I can to create a peaceful environment and a peaceful ambience around me. Like you, I help people in any way that I can. And the biggest thing is ensuring that staying sober and staying violent free. That's like one of the biggest things I could do to show justice. Being locked up, being put in a box, the people who I've harmed, they don't really get anything from me being here. And if I let them hear, if they knew how our mind worked when we were living that life, the reality of it is I was exactly where I was supposed to be, where I wanted to be. Being in prison was a rite of passage for somebody like us, the lifestyle that we were living. So if they could hear and they understood, me being in prison was not a punishment.
To commit murder was a good thing.
Yeah, it was exactly.
Yeah, it was not frowned upon.
Right. I wore it like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
I wore being in prison. I wore, being able to go to different yards and show up in different shoes and show up on different level fours. Like that was all part of just another feather in my hat, And so today I'm actually being of service. I'm actually doing the right things. I'm no longer harming people. I'm living by spiritual principles. I'm ensuring that not just myself, but those around me. I'm teaching others not to make the same mistakes that I made. I'm showing others that there's other opportunities, to live a different life than the one that we lived or they've lived for so long, And I'm a living proof and living example of like, hey, nothing is unattainable. There's ultimate freedom that you can receive, and it's not necessarily physical, And I definitely share that message daily. I live my step 12. I'm a service, and so for me, I feel like that's like the biggest thing, the biggest way that I'm giving them justice is to make sure that the life that I took was not in vain. I had to spend 20 years in here before I started seeing the light, but it was necessary. And now any time that I do in prison, I'm helping to affect the change that I want to see in prison. When I do return to society, I'm going to be doing the same thing out there. I'm going to be a productive member of society. And I know that people, the survivors, the family members, the people that I've harmed are probably like, well, he shouldn't get that opportunity. He shouldn't get that chance. And to an extent, I would have to agree to them for those who choose to not do the hard work, the necessary work to obtain their freedom again.
I try to look at it like, okay, well, do I deserve anything? And the answer is no. I don't deserve anything. What do I feel like I should get? I don't feel like I should get anything. I feel like I have to live my life. I have to live my life in good, orderly direction.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that matters to me. I do feel pain being in prison. I do feel remorse and I do feel empathy. I I wish that I I wish that I didn't go that night. To the situation. When I killed that individual, I wish that I hadn't gone that night. I wish that that individual was still alive with his family. I feel I do suffer in here. Yeah, I live okay in here. I'm lucky that I have the life that I have in here, but I do feel suffering being in here. I do think about the individual that I killed. I think about him. I think about him all the time. I wonder, I wonder what it feels like to die like that. I wonder, what I put his family through, and I lose sleep over it. It does happen. I don't know if that's what they want to hear, if that's what they're looking for, just acknowledgement, hey, that, or the fact that I'm suffering. Absolutely, I'm suffering. I want to go home. I've been in here 14 years. I know that I'm not going to get out of here um, probably any less than 20 years in, at least. And that's hard to miss 2 decades of my life. To know that I was in here since 2000, and that's going to be over 30 years in the system. I've already got over 25 years in the system, not including the well, that's including the 14 that I've been in straight, But yeah, that's difficult to think about. Um, I give back, but I give back in because that's just the person that I am now. I do this podcast with you, Jess. I do my education and study, and I try to just be a humble person because I know what I was before. I was rotten to the core, and it just took a lot of love to pull me out of that and to help me reclaim my inner goodness because it was overgrown, man, with a with just a with just a disgusting fungus, man, of just hatred, and I'm just not that person anymore. And thinking back on it, I think about it, it's like, man, I can't believe that I got that bad. I just can't believe it. I never thought that I would go that extreme. But it happened.
No, for sure. But when you were living that life, when we were living that life, there was no telling us that something was wrong.
No.
That's just the reality. And that's like we've talked about it several times. That's the hardest thing to get over. It's like looking back and thinking like, damn, how ignorant was I? Like how delusional was I?
Yeah.
Like I can't believe that that I lived that long like that, knowing what I know now and not being that far removed from it. It's almost like the Matrix. You're just like, damn,
yeah.
I really ate the wrong pill.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's hard sometimes to like face life on life's terms and all that stuff, but it's admirable. Like I feel actual honor and integrity now, knowing that I have to go through struggles that ultimately I come out the other side feeling like a man, feeling a better person, versus versus self-destructive struggles that I put myself in the middle of, thinking that was honorable at one time. So I look back and it's like, man, I can't believe I did this for so long, and dishonored, my victims and refused to take responsibility and refused to be accountable and minimize and rationalize my behavior, And so today, like you said, how are they giving justice? Well, today I'm 100% responsible for my actions. I'm 100% accountable, I do my best not to minimize anything. I do my best not to rationalize. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Like I said, I'm still a work in progress and will be for years to come. But I try to make sure that I'm honoring, my victims at every turn, because I stole a life from them. I stole opportunity, and I just want to make sure that the opportunities that I'm provided, that I capitalize on them, because they're not just for me. They're for the ones that I've stolen from somebody else.
Yeah, we're told that, well, justice for our victims, but we're too busy trying to put all victims into one box. into one category. And realistically, I think that's more about us trying to understand our victims rather than just living a life in good orderly direction. We have to keep it. We have to acknowledge what we did. That's a given. We have to take responsibility for what we did, and we have to start living a good life. And that's what it is. But there's some victims will be like, look, man, I want that motherfucker in front of a firing squad. I want him dead. There's just like the difference between life in prison, life without parole, life with the possibility, and the death penalty. Well, there's some victims that are like, man, I want this motherfucker on death row for the rest of his life.
And again, they don't understand. It's a formality.
What that means.
Yeah, they don't understand what that means. They don't understand how much money they're paying to house those people there, how much they're spending on their legal defense, how much, it's just a whole another thing,
Yeah, I want him, I want the guy breaking bricks all day with a sledgehammer, chewing on rocks for toothpaste, digging holes with his bare hands.
Yeah.
It's like...
But, on that note right there, right, that's the difference, though. Like, if we could just get some people to see, like, that's the difference of what CDCR is now. When they were putting people in prison before, basically you threw them in the jungle and you said, fend for yourself. That's what it was. And all it did was create a synergy of evil and negativity. People went back out to society way worse than...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And that wasn't justice for anybody. That wasn't justice for society. That wasn't justice for the victims. That wasn't justice for anybody, because what they did is they came into prison and became criminally sophisticated. They became way more violent. They became way more, it was just madness. Where now it's like you send people to prison and they see different things.
That guy, I was thinking about that guy, and I don't remember if he was talking in the context of killers in general, killers, monsters, or people in prison, but he made a comment about...
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
He said no amount of horse petting and dog training will ever change those people. And the fact is I disagree. I disagree, because the love and kindness that was shown to me by CDCR, the general public, and advocates has changed my perspective. It has changed me. It's not going to change everybody. Yeah, I don't think everybody should be doing that. It's not going to work for some people, but for the most of us, look at the landscape in prison. It has changed completely. It looks different than what we knew before.
Yeah. And it's like he told that was a 60.
Yeah, it's a 60 seconds. So we're gonna give you a call back, James.
All right. We'll be here. We'll be waiting. All right. So it's that time of the day. With this stream, we have to disconnect and start off a new call. They should be calling us back shortly, and once they call back, we'll go ahead and continue. Here where I'm at right now, it's what time is it already? It's 2:17 a.m. and today we're going to be heading over to Germany via train. I think we're leaving here at 6 o'clock in the morning. I want to say, because our train leaves at 7.
This call is now being
Global Talent.
recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel-Link.
Hello.
Hello.
James.
Yes.
All right, we're back. Yeah, so that's just how we feel about that topic. The horse petting and dog training. It does show us compassion, man. It helps us. It helps us out, man.
Those are people who can't understand how our previous environment, our upbringing, affected our development.
It was a cesspool, a breeding ground for killers.
Yeah.
The way this place was.
But not just prison. Like our upbringing as a whole, that led us to prison.
Yeah.
Like they have to understand a piece of that, and then understand how coming here just exacerbated that dysfunction that was already brewing inside of us.
Yeah.
And cultivated it even more. And so the changing, giving us these things that they're giving us now, it absolutely gives us opportunities to see life in a different light, to see the world through different goggles, And I know Governor Newsom had said something to the effect of
You call him Governor?
I mean, yeah.
Governor Newsom.
Governor Newsom, right?
Yeah, the governor.
Yeah, the governor, Mr. Yoga Pants himself, Governor
Yeah.
Yoga Pants.
Governor Newsom, yes.
Yeah, so
Governor
yeah,
Gavin.
he did say in his special that he absolutely believes that there are people in prison who should never get out of prison, who have no business getting out of prison. And he also believed that there are people who are in prison who should absolutely get out of prison, who people may think should never get out of prison. What he was referring to, he didn't really clarify, but I think it's pretty obvious for those of us that are here. The people that he's talking about who should never get out of prison are those that are not making any effort to get themselves out of prison. The doors are there, the opportunities are there. And there's a lot of people who are refusing to capitalize on those opportunities to transform their lives.
Yeah, if they don't acknowledge what they did when they came in here, and if they continue to live a destructive lifestyle in here, then guess what, man? They shouldn't be out. That's just what it is, and that ties into even getting married in prison. Okay, so marriages. Jesse went to a marriage. He went to a marriage ceremony today. He was the only one in tears, but he did go to that ceremony on someone else's behalf. That's here, one of the fellows on the yard. And I was glad Jesse got to go and experience that. And that ties in, like, okay, well, we're this and we're that, right? We're all monsters in here. We shouldn't be petting horses and training dogs. Should we be getting married?
Yeah, should we be given the opportunity to get married and have love and find happiness and get family visits, conjugal visits, and things of that nature?
So let's get into marriages and what marriages are, and what goes into a wedding in general. So I will ask James that you repeat Chubby Jessica's question. It is now her time.
All right, all right.
What
So
was
let's
it?
see right here. So let me see.
It applies.
Okay. So the first question she asked was, how does the prison system support or hinder marriages and family relationships for inmates?
Well, first of all, I don't believe they support any aspect of it.
No.
It's not.
I think we have a law. We have a right to marry by law.
Yeah, we have a right to marry by law. I don't believe they support it in any way, shape, or form. In fact, as far as me personally, I believe they just found another way to capitalize on it. Because it's like $500 to get married in prison, but you can get married in the county jail for like all you need to pay for is the marriage license, and have somebody come, an ordained minister marry you. And we're here in prison somehow, some way, the total cost of it turns out to be like $500. For like $390, $490. I'm not even sure, to be honest with you, but I know it costs a pretty penny now. So it's just as far as them supporting it, I don't think they support it in any way, shape, or form. It could be a lot more. It could be a lot more inclusive. It could be a lot more. Like I said, today I went out to a wedding. I was the best man for one of my buddies right here. He's been locked up since he was 15 years old, and he's in his 30s now, and it's awesome because he found love, and his story just resonates with me because it's something that I can relate to. So I won't get into specifics about his story because it's just his personal business, but yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. And so as far as getting married in prison and what entails, like what the obstacles and the hurdles you have to overcome, is you got to fill out the paperwork. You got to have the money, first of all. If you have no money, you're not going to get married. There's no fee waivers or anything like that. You got to pay for all kinds of stuff. Your family basically comes in like a regular visit. They just get them out first, and basically get a little. I guess you could say that's the one way they support prison weddings. They let you in early.
Did they?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, not I wouldn't say earlier than regular visit, but they definitely put you at the front of the line. You know,
That's cool.
and so yeah, so the question was, how do they support, and what was the other part of it?
Let
It
me
was a pretty long question, Chubby Jessica. We need good direct hits. We can't have multifaceted questions.
see. So
Three part.
she asked, how does the prison system
It has syllables. Go ahead.
how does the prison system support or hinder marriages and family relationships for inmates?
Okay, so you answered the supported one, right? Where they don't support it. Hindering. Let's go for some hinderings. What do you think's the obstacles, Jess?
What I don't. I mean, I don't know. You might understand that better than I did. Didn't you get married in prison?
This is your question, Holmes.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you're the person who's been married in prison. So I'm not the expert on prison marriage. I know that I attended a prison wedding today, and but as far as like what all it entails, I do know that they do domestic partnerships now, which is a lot easier than actual marriage licenses.
I think
Not as permanent, I guess you could say. You know, a lot of people are doing it now just for the family visit aspect of it, and not having to undergo all the other stuff, and definitely not having to pay all that extra money for the wedding. Um,
I don't believe that we had any hindrances. I don't, other than the fact that a couple days before my wedding, I got jumped in Tehachapi, and I got moved suddenly out of Tehachapi and transferred to back to North Kern State Prison. No, I think I went to Wasco. Went back to Wasco from Tehachapi, and then I went to Calipatria after that. So all the money that my wife had paid for the wedding license, we lost it. It was probably like non-refundable, you know. You have to get married within a certain period of time.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, and I was in a different county, so other than that, it was just, I guess, finding the right dates to line everybody up. I think the limitations on visitors doesn't help, where you can only have 5 visitors total or something. We had all of our visitors. I had my wife's side of the family, my side of the family, kids, but I think it was more like a rush job. As soon as we were done with the wedding, the visitors had to go.
that was the thing that I kind of noticed today. It wasn't like they should have allowed a little more celebratory
Yeah,
aspect of it.
the extra visitors were had to leave.
Yeah.
You know, it was limited, but everybody left and just left me alone with my wife. I think I was more focused on her that day, just because it was the happiest day of my life, getting married to my wife. So there was nothing that could have gone wrong that day that would have really, other than me not getting married to her. Imagine if she did the runaway bride and she ran awkwardly across the visiting room and just had to wait for the cop to come and let her out, and then continued the run all the way to the podium to get her ID, and then continued the run to the next door, looked around, continued the run all the way to the front gate. Waited in line, and then freaking got processed out, and then continued the run to the car. Then it would have been terrible. That would have been horrible.
That would have been a bad look.
That is the slowest runaway bride ever.
It's funny that you say that it was the happiest day of your life, because it's a trip, because I was sitting out there today, and I'm standing next to my boy while they're doing the whole ceremony, and I'm looking at them, and it's funny because Dave wasn't lying. Like I literally, like, my eyes kind of started to gloss up because I'm listening to the profound words that the minister's saying. They're exchanging, these vows and the things she's saying to them. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, damn, like, what a real marriage and lifetime commitment looks like and sounds like, and for me, it was just, because it's a hard concept to wrap my head around, like to think that, damn, right here in prison, right here in this place of ugliness and nastiness, that there's something as beautiful as this taking place right now, and it was weird. For me, it was a tripped out feeling. I'm not gonna lie, like, to think that, and I'm looking at him, I'm looking at her, like, man, why am I getting emotional and they're the ones getting married? I mean, it was just a weird thing for me, and so I don't know. I still have to process that and try to figure out why it was that I was feeling like that. But I was just happy for him, happy for her, and thinking like, this is, because I could never appreciate the idea of marriage beforehand. Like I never, because I was married to this lifestyle and to the game, more than I ever would be to any woman or committed to anything else. And so like I'm starting to understand what commitment is about and understand what the concept of marriage truly entails, and just to hear that right there, and I know him, and I know what kind of good dude he is, and I genuinely believe that when he was taking those vows and he was taking that oath in that marriage, that this is a man that is going to honor it and respect it, and I definitely admired him for that, and it just to think, like, man, this kid's been in here his whole life since he was a teenager, 15-year-old boy, and and like I said, now he's found happiness, and she's probably found her happiness, her soulmate, and just to think what the future holds for them. Fortunately for him, he's not a lifer. He beat his life sentence, when he was young, but he did get a bunch of time. And good thing is he's going to board this year in September, and hopefully he makes it up out of here. Everything he should be getting up out of here. Like I said, he's not a lifer, so he's just going in on a heat offender thing. But yeah, I was out there tripping out on that and listening to it, and just and feeling some kind of way. It was cool. It was definitely a beautiful thing, And
How does that strengthen family bonds? That
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
oh, it absolutely strengthens family bonds because it creates something. It creates a whole new dynamic in the relationships. Because now he's eligible to go out there and get his family visits. He's able to go out there and spend the weekend with his wife, with their daughter. And just have a blast. So it humanizes him even more. It reminds him, helps him to utilize consequential thinking now, because now anything he does in prison, if he was to decide to do something wrong, he's not only penalizing himself, he's penalizing the woman who he already took an oath to. You know.
would that take away from victims his happiness, their justice?
I personally don't believe so. I don't believe so. I'm sure if you ask certain survivors, they would say absolutely that it takes away from their justice, because in their mind they can't think in front of their face, which is understandable because it's definite. With people that have taken lives and harmed people in serious ways, and done harm to them that's going to stick with them for the rest of their lives. They may be thinking, well, if why can't I don't get to be happy? I got to relive the moment that this person tormented me, that ruined my life, either took my loved one or subjected me to some sort of crime. And it's like, why should he get that happiness if I don't have it? Some people don't understand the trauma and the ripple effect of the victimization process.
Yeah. No, it's just a lot to think about.
Yep. So I don't think it takes away. Again, I come down on the other side of it, where by humanizing him and making him a better person and giving him hopes and giving him, something to commit to, and giving him
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
it's making sure that their loved ones or themselves information wasn't in vain. Because if you don't have that hope, if you don't have that reason or that purpose, there's nothing that's ever going to change you.
Yeah,
You're,
it's true.
you're going to do what you got to do. You're going to do what you want to do for the rest.
And
of
they'll
your life.
hurt more people.
Yeah, you're going to hurt exactly.
It's just what it is.
Yep.
It'll continue the cycle of victimization. James, you got another thought, man? I know it's already 2:34 in the morning over there.
Ah, man, we're good. We're good. Well, let's run it. Let's run it. We're only, I think, what are we? We're not even at even at an hour and a half yet. We got a few more.
All right. All right. We're in.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So for Eliasman is asking, is eating out, Uber and groceries, gasoline prices the same over there? I hear it's very expensive. So what? Normally when we travel, we really don't. We're not really big on catching Ubers. We normally get around either in Europe. It's easier just to get around in public transportation, whether it's buses, trains, metros, subways, and things of that nature. The only time that we did rent a car, and the car was relatively cheap. It was $19 a day when we drove over from hold on, let me see here.
Esta
This
es
call is now
Global
being
Telling.
recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello, hello.
Right, James?
Yep.
Yes, sir. All right, what else you got for us?
Hey, so we got El Iceman.
Any
El
questions
Iceman,
for us?
El Iceman was tapping in.
Yeah,
He's
lights, man.
and he writes, Iceman here,
What's up?
wishing safety and great health to the homies.
Hey, we appreciate you, man. We talk about you a lot, man, and we appreciate all your encouragement and your support. And,
Absolutely.
and yes, Lights, man, I am watching my temper. Absolutely.
It's good to have him in live.
It is,
Checking
man.
in.
I will not let you guys down. I will not beat up another soul. God forbid I don't get my ass kicked.
Just to make sure he's out there in time to kick off that barbecue kickoff that we're gonna have.
Absolutely.
That's
My
right.
fists are retired.
Hey, so we do have some more questions here. Um, Chubby Jessica asks, have you ever encountered any unique ceremonies or traditions that couples adapt for their prison wedding?
I've heard of some. I've heard of some. I've heard of the bride walking down the center of the aisle of the visiting room. You know, and I believe, matter of fact, I forgot that people threw something. I think people threw rice from some of the food.
Okay.
They did. I don't remember how they did it, but I heard that, and somebody told me about it. And look, my wife and I, we're pretty private. That was actually a bigger wedding than we would have wanted. The prison wedding, I'm more like courthouse kind of thing. My wife as well. We're more like just let's go to city. What do you call it?
City Hall.
City Hall.
Yeah.
Elope, and then we'll do like something like private, like later. You know, just it's just a formality. Our love is intact. You know, it's more like a entering into a partnership, contractual partnership, but it's something that we just would have chosen to do more private. Yeah, but that was the only one that I heard was the walking down the aisle, and there was another one. I don't remember who told me that. It might have been my wife too, where a lady wore an actual wedding dress,
I've seen that.
the whole wedding dress.
Yep, I've seen the whole wedding dress, which was cool. But it depends what prison you're in, because certain prisons, they're going to put obstacle after obstacle where you're not going to be able to wear it in because the dress code is so strict.
Yeah, my girl wore a nice dress, and she just looked so beautiful that day, so radiating. She could have been dressed like a nun, and I would have seen her radiating. You know, her light. She was so pretty. Not to say she's not still pretty. She's very pretty still, but it was just I can't. Yeah, I gotta make sure I don't want to get fucked up, man. She will put hands on me. Nah, my girl's cool, man. She had a good. I don't know that day. It was. I was more. Everybody said that I looked so happy that day, and I didn't feel any different other than, more nervousness for the occasion. But I just was, man. And I still feel happy to this day.
Hey, you know what, guys? Right now that you guys
That
are
was years ago.
right now that you guys are talking about like the visiting room and and
Hold
partners.
on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
We're on YouTube. We hear you, Felipe. We're on YouTube.
Was that too loud? Felipe likes to yell in the vent when we're on here.
What?
Nah,
We're
nah.
on YouTube. YouTube, Felipe. Hey, Felipe. We're on YouTube.
Hey, tell him that. Hey,
Hey,
whenever
Felipe,
when when he
He's
jumps
gonna
on the
tune in right now.
Wait, what'd you say?
when he jumps on the van,
Go ahead.
he needs to
Esta
say
llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
he needs to yell
Okay.
out despensa en la tira.
Hey, Felipe.
Pensando alambre.
We're in the vent right now. Felipe. Hey, come here, you little gerbil. Hey. I said, come here, you little gerbil. Hey, James said that we gotta put it together on you because you didn't say dispensa on the vent.
Oh, hey, dispensa on the vent.
All right.
Corona,
All right. Now we.
James and my boy David and Jess. Hey, come on, send my love, bro.
I'm sure they heard you. Could you hear him, James?
Yeah, loud and clear, loud and clear. Yeah.
Hey, tell him as usual, keep that blood on his back, man.
All right. Hey, he heard you. So we're
Right
gonna.
now, the German's got his mustache
Yeah.
hostage. We're trying to get it back.
Yeah, we're negotiating for James's mustache back. He's in Prague and he's hostage right now. So we gotta go. We gotta go. We'll talk to you later. All right, later.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, when we got off the van, he said dispense on the vent. Hey, way to check that. Hey, way to check that fool, James. Hey, you gotta check little Felipe from time to time. You just do it like he fights though, so you just gotta be careful. You don't want to check him too hard. He will swing at you. He's a little rascal.
We got that.
Nah, but that's the boy right there.
Man, I like that. Tell him to keep
Hey,
it
when I
up.
was yelling right now, was that too loud for the listeners? I was kind of trying to put my hand over the mic right now when I was yelling, but
Nah,
he was just yelling at me.
with that you were able to keep that
Oh,
balance where it's not well, on my end at least. I'm not sure about the listeners. Hopefully, they were having the same experience I was. But now that's definitely
well, you're one of the listeners.
yeah. But I'm
See,
running.
Jesse's used to it. Jesse's used to me just yelling out loud out of nowhere. So
Yeah, tell him so.
and he's used to it. Anyway, hey,
Anytime.
what were we talking about?
Okay,
What were we talking about before the little gerbil interrupted us?
so anytime he
Go
jumps
ahead.
on in the future, tell him he's gonna have to say dispensa en event, dispensa on YouTube, and then we were talking about where you guys were talking about prison weddings and in wedding dresses and whatnot. But right now that you guys
Strange ceremonies.
right
Go
now
ahead.
that you guys
Okay, go ahead.
mentioned the visiting room a few weeks ago, I know there was an incident up in Lancaster in the visiting room where somebody ended up getting hurt.
The dude
Uh,
whacked his old lady.
yep, yep. What
Yeah,
did you
dude whacked his old lady.
what do you guys know about the incident? That's gotten out through prison.com, through the prison.com system.
What?
Hold on. We're going. Hey, we would like to answer your question, but hey, we're gonna let everybody. Felipe, just. All right, Felipe. No, hold on. You didn't say it. And you got to say dispense on YouTube too, because they're all.
Dispense on YouTube, and I was gonna ask you guys to do me a favor. Jesse's on the phone live, right?
Okay.
And she's fighting her cancer. I was gonna ask for everybody else to say a special shout out, special prayer for her, and her next time, her next radiation, her beating,
Hey, did you hear that, James?
You have to speak up just a little bit.
She's a follower of
Hey, we gotta give a special shout out to Desi, because Desi's listening live. She's out there somewhere listening in live right now. She's from tuning in from Victorville, and she should be on the channel, James. But we got to give her a special shout out and a show of support from all of our listeners and prayers, because she's fighting cancer right now, and she's going into what is she doing? Her treatments right now?
She's about to finish her last radiation, chemo, and
yep, she's gonna finish her chemo and her radiation, and she should beat this. And we just he wants us to give her yep, she's gonna be victorious. She's gonna ring that bell. And so that's what it no, that's a good interruption, Felipe. That's the only time that we're gonna forgive you, and we're not gonna throw a chical on the yarda. All right, it's for Desi.
Hey, thank you. And that's coming from all of us to her,
And say dispense on the vent, and then leave the vent.
Dispense on the vent. Gracias, camarada.
Okay, beat it, hey. No, but all bullshit aside, James, and this is a shout out to Desi. Keep fighting, girl. Don't give up. I have a friend that didn't make it, and I think about her all the time. And
I have a friend who did make it.
Yep.
And she fought cancer 3 different times, and she's in remission right now. So
Yep. And keep fighting, girl. It's almost over. You're gonna beat it. And all the listeners that listen to this now and after the fact, please put Desi in your prayers.
Yep. Send some positive vibes and some strength.
Yep. And then okay. So anyway, we're talking about that incident in Lancaster. Hey, what did you hear about it? Because we heard that some girl got hit or something, or she got sliced or something.
White boy came out there and whacked his old lady in the visiting room.
Yeah, that's so originally.
Sliced her with the razor blade.
That really happened, huh? Shit.
Yeah, hey, and when something like that happens, what's going through your mind? Because uh, potentially, this could affect your visits.
Oh no, that affected his visits. Not potentially. He's done.
No, no, no.
I don't think he'll ever probably go out there again.
I'm talking about everybody's visits, not just him, but in some way it might affect
Well, not necessarily.
It may cause the staff to act a little finicky for a while, based on the fact that somebody neglected their responsibility as far as they're concerned, because the shit's gonna roll downhill. So somebody's gonna have to pay some sort of piper for the fact that he got a razor blade into the visiting room.
He shouldn't have made it out there with anything like that. We get stripped
out.
out.
There's really nothing they can do about it. If he wants to get a blade out there, he's gonna get it out there. But yeah, they're again, it's still gonna look bad to somebody.
Yeah. Someone's going to pay the piper for that, and that's unfortunately, you never know. If it was on the main line, she could have.
GP.
Oh, a GP, yeah, she could have done something.
I don't know how that's the case though, because I don't think there is a GP yard in Lancaster, but they said it was.
Yeah, she could have done something that was detrimental to a criminal organization, organized crime, and when they tell you to do something,
it's go time.
It's go time.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. Do we agree with it? No. That's why we're not over there no more. We don't agree with that. I don't.
My first thought was though, because the last time they took family visits from lifers was because of something like that. A lifer went out there and ended up killing his old lady in the family visiting room.
Yeah.
And that I don't know. Honestly, I can't remember how long they were gone, but I know they were gone for at least a good 15 years. If not longer. And so my first thought was like, man, I wonder if this could have an adverse effect on those who do get family visits,
I don't think so. I could see if it was in a family visiting.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
They try to screen you out pretty good when you go to family visiting, but that's a different circumstance, different scenario. We got family visiting privileges back in 2018, I believe. 16?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, because they came back when I was in Tehachapi. And that's when I started to act right. And so they disappeared in 1994, I believe.
A long time ago.
Yeah, so they were gone for a long time. So the guys who get family visits are understanding in that regard.
Yeah.
They screen us out pretty good. It's not easy to get family visits right now. They really go into our history, conduct in prison, disciplinary history.
I've seen some crazy shit out there though. I've seen dudes sleep their old lady out there in the visiting room. I've seen some pretty crazy stuff, But yeah, I mean, nothing justifies that kind of behavior out there. But I've seen some chicks do some wild shit out there, and I've seen some dudes do some wild shit out there. The visiting room is a pretty crazy place sometimes,
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's a place of reconciliation with the family. But there's definitely some heathens out there sometimes.
That's why I'm kind of like, well, I'm not even on the fence about it. You know how they're doing these laws they're working on these laws to change the family visiting guidelines, and I don't believe that dudes that are like repeat domestic violence dudes, I think they should do a lot of screening and counseling, because they will go out there and hurt somebody.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
that doesn't just go away. It's just, they haven't beat up any women in here while they're in prison because there's no women in here.
Yeah.
And they know if they beat up a tranny, she's probably gonna put hands on them. Yeah, well, golden gloves. Yeah. But we'll it's gonna cut off right now, James. So give you a call back.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right.
All right, and shout out to Desi, and hopefully everything turns out well for you in your current battle with cancer. The big C. That's something that you don't want to hear. When you're going into these to these checkups, or when you're getting an MRI, CT scan, or anything done like that. It's probably one of those things that you don't want to hear. But hopefully everything turns out well.
This call is
Esta
now
es
being
Global
recorded.
Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
David Lopez.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel-Link.
Hello, hello.
Hey, James.
Yeah.
Felipe was hitting the wall right now, and he was like, "You guys are idiots." He goes, "Don't get beat up by trannies." We're not. We're not the ones picking. We're not the ones picking fight with trannies, And I'm not taking away from any of their femininity either, Like I just don't. Yes, there could be some feminine trannies, but there are some that will mop somebody up, and you don't want to get them hooked up with one of them domestic violence dudes because that'll be a bloodbath. No, but hey, Felipe said thank you very much too, man, for the time we gave to his girl Des in her fight. But it's just what it is, man. They're trying to change these. They're trying to change family visiting because they took them away from guys who had drug offenses in the past and cell phone write-ups, and that was kind of the leverage they used for the issue with cell phones in here. But I don't see any reason why those guys shouldn't get them. For what? I mean, look, they drug test you when you're out there. They put you through a body scanner, and there's just as much threat of people bringing in shit from that way as any other way. If you're doing that, you're doing that, and people will tell on you, and your people will get arrested, and you'll get caught up, and you're going to lose that privilege.
They actually had proposed policy to change where they couldn't take your visit unless it was visit related.
That's what I'm saying.
And it made it all the way through. It made it all the way to the governor's desk, and he vetoed it. I was actually looking forward to that because because the reason I don't get family visits is because I have distributions in prison. So
yeah, it's gotta suck. My last family visit was like a month and a half ago. I go out again in another 45 days. Or about maybe 2 months. It was 3.5 months this time for my next one. I go out in August, so it's shit's coming up, huh? Coming up pretty quick. But yeah, it sucks, man, for some people, and I don't think that serial domestic violence people should be out there. I just don't. They will mess it up for all of us.
absolutely.
I believe that people do make mistakes. Hey, shit happens. You never know, but I just think it's a slippery slope with that. Condemn.
Did you have some other questions, James, from the thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what you got?
we do. We do have some more questions from Chubby Jessica right here. Let me see. Let me just go through this. And then, okay, so Chubby Jessica writes, can you describe the process of organizing a wedding in prison? What limitations did you face?
I think we answered that question.
Oh, that one,
But
okay.
well, the process of organizing a wedding in prison it's not really us. It's look, for me, what I had to do was I had to write the marriage coordinator and pay $30. So $30 was held. The $30 covered the notary and a fee for them, for the department, to issue me out 2 packets of paper. So I paid $30 for copies, really. And part of it was the notary. Once I got that, I had to fill out a form. I had to send them both to my wife. I filled out one, and my wife filled out one. And one thing that they asked on there was on mine, that I sent to my wife, is they wanted me to write how much time I'm doing. Because I guess people lie to their even though you can just check online, but I had to write on there that I'm serving 40 years to life. So, and actually what my charges were. I'm here for 187. I can say it on TikTok. I'm here for murder, and I got another 25 to life for use of a firearm, and then I got an in-house kidnapping. So I had to write all that on there. Then send that out. She fills that out and sends it back in to the counselor, and the counselor had to approve and see if I was even eligible to be married, which means they have to have on record that I'm not married already, or something like that. So once that was done, all that information, I think they kept all that information, and then they gave us a list of proctors. No, proctors for solemnizer, proctors for college. It's called a solemnizer. Sodomizer. No, it's called a solemnizer. So
The hell?
yeah, the solemnizer is like the minister. So we had like 4 to choose from that were eligible to, or they were approved to come into the prison. So then my wife had to pay the solemnizer, like, I don't know, maybe like $400, and then they scheduled a wedding date. Yeah, I got tired just thinking about it. Then once they schedule the wedding date, you really don't know when it's going to be. They have to they tell you at the last minute. So that's the only thing that's kind of like a hurdle. You got to get everybody together and keep them on standby. So once we got a date for the wedding, then you had to fill out a special thing to ask if you were going to exchange rings, which we did. Then you got to bring a receipt that the ring has to be under $100. And then that's it. And then once that happens, and everything gets done, you get an official marriage license after the wedding, and we have to wait for that. And then once that came, I think my wife had she sent her birth certificate too. And then she had to get my birth certificate. Yeah. So I think the birth certificate's probably like the hardest thing.
Hey, David, let me ask you.
Trying to get that. A lot of people don't have it. Yeah.
When you guys are in the middle of the ceremony, are all the other visitors also there, on their visits, or do they do that separate from the visitation area?
No, it's right. You're right in the middle of the visiting room. Midday, everybody's in there, coming and going. You get married usually right where they take your pictures. That's where I got married, right where the picture was. So you get like that little background, little backdrop.
Right here in Centinela, they do it in the back corner, back table.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Which is actually better because this visiting room doesn't look too packed.
No.
Over there in Calapat, you're on front and center,
Wow.
right by the podium.
Oh, yeah.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And do you guys get an extra kiss when you do get married?
You do. I kissed the bride and the groom today.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're talking about at the wedding, not what you did today when you were out there. Yeah. No, Jesse just does that.
Yeah.
Hey, he's very European. That's all I'll say. So, yeah.
I just went in. They were like, you may kiss the bride, you may kiss the bride and groom, and I was like, it's party time.
Yep, that's it. He was the bachelor. He was the bachelor and bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Now, so, yes, I had a great kiss. But keep in mind, I got married in front of my in-laws too, my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, and my mom and the kids. Like, that's not the place for a deep smooch. That's like, that was a super PG smooch.
Me, on the other hand, I'd have been getting naked.
Yeah, that was how he was today.
Yeah, and it wasn't even my wedding. I was just out there like, what? Somebody ordered a stripper, bitches?
Hey, James, you there? I haven't heard you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm
Oh,
over
I
here
heard him.
laughing in the
Oh,
background.
all right. Just to make sure, man. Yeah, to make sure. I thought I heard a noise in the background. It's 3 o'clock in the morning too, so I don't know what you're doing over there right now.
I'm worried about you, James.
Yeah, we are.
Worried about
Yeah, now right now, shit, man. I'm trying to figure out, should I shower first? Should I pack? You know, what
Hey,
yeah.
por favor, take a little shower. Um,
you. What's the next move?
do all the listeners a favor. Take a little shower.
That
You know,
sounds like a great idea.
yep. Throw some deodorant on.
Hey, you know what? Out
I think
here,
honestly, I'm not saying shave. Go, yeah, go ahead.
out
I love
here, I'm gonna
deodorant.
tell you something. They don't believe in deodorant out here, so I don't want to be smelling too clean, because they might I might offend somebody. It smells nothing like it. All you're gonna get while you're walking around, riding the bus or in the metro, you're gonna get a bunch of stinky armpits all over the place. So I'm
I
trying
think you should. I think you should shave your ankles. Just shave your ankles. Mid ankle.
Straight cebollas? You mean to tell me there's straight cebollas walking around over there?
Hey, why
all
don't they wear
bad.
deodorant over there?
I
I know
don't
about
know.
the underarm hair thing for women and stuff like that, but what do you mean? So you're just walking around just smelling people like all crazy?
No, it's like like you could smell it. It's so bad that people could be a few feet away from you, and you just get it. Like you just straight get a drop kick to the
Oh,
face.
Wow. Oh, wow.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's how prison is too. So it's not really any different than right here. There's some nasty motherfuckers here too.
There's some ripe ass
Absolutely.
dudes walking by like, man, I'm about to.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I know situations. I know this guy in Calipat, like where they had to literally drag the guy out of the cell and put him in the shower. That was by sergeant's request. Yep, he was not in the shower. Yep.
That's
There
all
was a guy
bad.
here like that, and I know the guy.
Yeah, who? No skinny dude?
No, Bo.
No.
Yeah, didn't they say Bo never showered or bird bath?
Oh, wow. Was that him?
Yeah, they said no. That's not the one I'm talking about, but that's a whole
No,
other
I'm
one.
saying. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
He said it was a religious thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was religiously exempt from showering, so.
But he never came. He never stank, and he never seemed dirty. But I don't know. No, he used to bird bath because I remember he used to leave his bird bath water on his floor and everything when he was right next door.
All right. Well, we're gonna let him off the hook.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna let him off the hook this time.
Barely.
Yeah.
I like the guy too. He was actually a good guy for a human trafficker.
For a human trafficker, he's not bad for a human
Yeah, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Freaking Bo. So what else you got, James? You got any other questions on there?
And I think that pretty much was the end of the questions. I know we got about 3 minutes left on this call right here, and this is gonna be the last one, just
Yep.
because I do gotta go ahead and I got some other
Okay.
things coming up, but like always, I want to go ahead and appreciate you guys, for thank you guys for calling in and spending some time with us, on the cuerno on the phone.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Very informative with the topics you guys bring to the table, and want to go ahead and thank you.
Hey, I think we are informative, honestly. Hey, we're just two bundles of joy right here.
So speaking of informative, then real quick, you asked me a pretty intense question earlier. Before we go, why don't you answer the same question, Dave?
Yeah, I forgot the question.
The question was,
I always ask Jesse the hard questions.
yeah, how do you feel you're showing your victims justice or giving your victims justice?
Oh, I'm suffering. I am. Yeah, I'm going through it in here. The weight of my actions is on my shoulders, and I understand completely what I did, and I can't get it out of my mind no matter how hard I try. It's eating at me, and if that's what they're looking for, they got it. I'm acknowledging who I was, and I'm just disgusted and embarrassed by it, and I'll never be that person again, and I'm sorry. I am. I was a freaking scumbag, and I know it, and I'll never go back to that. yeah, that's I don't know, there's nothing else I could really say in that regard.
That's great.
You
That's a
know,
good
um,
answer.
but yeah, I appreciate you, James. I appreciate all the listeners, everybody who spends this time this every week with us. Chubby Jessica for your excellent questions,
Yeah.
mostly on topic.
Yeah. And lifespan.
And nice man. Yeah, for stopping by,
For your
man.
presence and
Yeah,
all
for
the
your
time
kind
you've
words.
had.
Yeah, we love getting your messages. And Fish Lair, whenever you show back up, whatever you're doing in the world, and most importantly, my beautiful wife. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see you. And don't forget Michael from Toronto,
From Toronto, Canada.
Canada. Yep.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, James, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you during the week. If you need us for another video call or something, just hit us up, man. And go ahead and say your thing. Life's
Hey.
like a box of chocolates. Once you blow out the candles, it never goes back.
Hey, hey, like I said around here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out,
You forgot.
it's lights out.
Like that.
And with that,
That's yeah.
All right.
That's yeah.
we're out.
We
Thank
are
you.
out.